All right, what's going on, guys? Victor with Chasing Waypoints here. Okay, we are talking Roadbooks today. So you are ready to go for your first event. It's time. You've scheduled it. Now we got to figure out what we're going to do with these guys. So today we're just going to talk really quick about loading your Roadbook into your Roadbook holder for your first event or your first rally raid. Believe it or not, there's some things you need to know. So let's jump right into it. First and foremost, you're going to get your Roadbook. There's two ways you can always print it out in 8.5 by 11, or you can always do 8.5 by 14. That's going to save you some time on the taping side of things and will help. And then what you're going to do is once you've got it all printed out, you're going to want to cut it down. If you are using a full-size Roadbook holder, you could go to the 5 7/8 width on it. That 5 7/8 will be just wide enough to fill up the entirety of the glass on most Roadbook holders, and then also kind of keep things aligned with a little bit of wiggle room on there. So trim all of your sheets, and then what you're going to do, the next part is very simple. And we'll go quick because there's not a lot to this. What you're going to want to do is, in case these get out of order, you're going to want to make sure you put your Roadbook notes in order. So I'll look at the very bottom here, and you'll see that there is a number on the note right here, and in this case it's number 36, and then the bottom one here is number 27. So I'm actually looking for, if this is note 27, I want to make sure note 28 is right underneath it. So by that, I just take a look here, line it up and make sure, yep, that's note 28 right there. And now we get to do the fun part, the taping or glue stick. So on this case, in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up right at the bottom there. I'm going to have about an inch or so overlap on the bottom. There's a couple things. You can either trim it if you don't want it on there. You can cut them a little bit tighter, or you can use the glue stick method as well. So there's two ways to taping the Roadbooks, basically. You can do, or putting them together. You can use the tape method, which is fairly simple. If you have OCD like me, you always try and line it up nice and perfect. And then you take your regular tape. That's not an advertisement for them. It just happened to be the first roll of tape I found at the store for us to do that. And so put a couple of pieces on there. Now I've got the Roadbook taped up right here. So now I have this to worry about. And that you can either flip it around, put a piece of tape there, but you got to remember, every time you overlap or put tape and do that kind of stuff, you're just making your Roadbook holder or making your Roadbook thicker. The problem with that is your traditional Roadbook holders only have a certain amount of room in there. So if you get a longer note or a longer Roadbook, you're going to fill it up pretty quick. So what you can do is, now that we have taped this, you can also just flip it over. Trusty glue stick. Put some on the edges right there, and then kind of down the center. Snap that back into place. Fold it over, press, and done. Now you've got it glue sticked. You can do this. You can just start with this in the first place, or you can tape it, do a hybrid, whatever you'd like. But the idea is you want to make sure that you've got a nice solid connection, because if they're a motorized Roadbook holder, they can put some stress on there. Now that you've taped your Roadbook, now we got to get it into the Roadbook holder. Doesn't seem like it's a complicated thing, but it could kind of be that. So remember, we're going to roll this up. We're going to roll it up. We're going to start at the lowest notes. So the inside of the Roadbook is the top. And then what you should be looking at once you're done rolling it should be the very end of the Roadbook. Once you've got that done and you're ready to go, you can do something like put a rubber band on it or something to hold it into place so it stays nice. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come over to your Roadbook holder and you're going to have to set it up. Now, if this is your first time setting up a Roadbook holder and getting it ready, there's some stuff that we've done on this one. We've actually taken some duct tape, just some real basic thin stuff, nothing fancy. And what we did is we wrapped it around the center posts here, as you can see. You have, normally a Roadbook holder has 4 different posts or rods across it. You have the top most and the bottom most, which is kind of like the ones designed to help spread the Roadbook out. And then you have the ones in the center. Those are the ones to advance and retract the Roadbook holder. So what you want to do is you want to put a tail on each of those. And what you're going to do is you're going to use that to feed it. As you can see, I have it fed behind this. So what I want it to do is I actually want it to suck the Roadbook in and make sure it wraps around this topmost tube. So that way I get the biggest spread possible. What you're going for is you want to see 3 notes here clearly. If you don't do that, you're going to end up with a note and a half here in the center, and it's not going to make any sense to you. So you want to make sure that you're getting around those 2 tubes. So let's get that going here really quickly. We'll feed this back around, get it in through that one. Okay. So I've already done the bottommost part. I already got it all wrapped up in there. I put a piece of tape on there. So now what I need to do is I need to get it attached to this top one. So what I'm going to do is get this lined up, get a piece of tape. You can use duct tape as well if you want, but Scotch tape will work. In this case, I left the introduction tail on it, so that helps as kind of like a primer to get started and get that thing, get that wrapped around. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to, the best of my abilities, attach this to that tail in a straight fashion, just like that. So now that I've got it attached there with tape, I'm ready to start reeling this thing in. So you'll just do this and wheel that in, nice and tight. So again, to get to where I'm at on this point, or at this point, we'll just do a quick recap here. Printed the Roadbook, cut the Roadbook to 5 7/8, and then taped it all together. Made sure that I was putting each note in order. So matching up the last note number with the first note number on the next page. Tape them or glue stick it together, however you prefer. And then I go over to my Roadbook holder, make sure that I feed the tails that I created on these rods in the center to advance and retract it. Feed the tails around the tube. So you want to make sure that the Roadbook gets pulled all the way around so you have the most amount of notes here visible. Now what I do is take that Roadbook that I just finished, I've wound it up, and the last note that I can see, that tail that's exposed, is the very last note in the Roadbook. What I'm going to do then is take that very last note in the Roadbook and I'm going to tape it to that tail, and I'm going to start feeding it through, and it's going to go around the tube and then into the center. So it'll go around the tube here, and then it'll go into the center one. And then what'll happen is I'm going to get to the end. Once I get to the end, I'm going to take and I'm going to get that tail from the top, make sure it's wrapped around this tube so that when it pulls the Roadbook through, it pulls it around and behind it. And I'm going to start advancing it. So the idea is, see how it's nice and clear? You get 3 full notes on here. Very sharp, really easy. And then you've got the right width on there because it takes up pretty much the whole Roadbook. So that's pretty much it. Fairly simple. Pros and cons. As you can see, if I start backing it up, I have the tape on that very most top tail. You can see there's like a little line going on here. That tail is trying to get stuck. So this is where sometimes the glue stick method is probably going to work better unless you decide to go back and tape the back side of it. So also, make sure in your guys' bags when you're out on there, because you never know what's going to happen with the Roadbook, make sure you carry some tape with you as part of your kit on the motorcycle. Could be electrical tape, could be Scotch tape, whatever you want to use, but just make sure you carry that glue stick for your kit for when you're going out to these events. And then, of course, your highlighter assortment. So you want to have a few different colors there so you can learn and mark your Roadbooks accordingly. So other than that, you're pretty much ready to get on your first Roadbook. So any questions, concerns, comments, anything like that, go ahead and drop them in the comments section and we'll get back to you with the answer. Or who knows, maybe we'll get another video going for you guys. Well, with that being said, we'll see you guys at your first event.